And we have breaking news as we come on the air tonight at 6. You're seeing a mall in Torrance, Southern California there. This is the Del Amo Fashion Center. We know that there has been a shooting reported at that mall right now. You can see the major police presence out there. Well, good evening. It's great to be with you tonight on this Monday. I'm Scott Raitz. Nazi has the night off. We start with that breaking news out of Southern California. We know that at least one person there has been shot at that busy mall in Torrance. That's very close there to Hermosa Beach in Los Angeles. No word on the condition of that person who has been shot at this hour, though. The shooting happening just after 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Photojournalist Stu Mundell has been flying over the scene all day, and he has the very latest. Stu, what do you got?
Well, the entire Del Amo Fashion Center has been locked down, like you said, after that shooting that happened about 3 o'clock this afternoon. What we're looking at right there are some of the search teams. Now, this is just one small block that we're seeing outside the Del Amo Fashion Center, but inside, you know this is being played over and over again on many of the areas that are inside that mall. This is a huge mall, and right around 3 o'clock this afternoon, shots were fired. One person was struck. That person taken to the hospital by Torrance Fire Department. We have some video from earlier on when we first arrived here. The ambulance going actually over to Harbor UCLA Medical, being escorted by one police car. We also know that after the shooting, they basically started an evacuation of the mall. Large groups of people were seen running from that mall earlier on as officers were basically getting here to this command post that's right off of Carson Boulevard, right at the mall's property, and they were starting to set up. They brought in other agencies. We know for a fact that El Segundo PD is here as well. They brought in the K-9. They brought in several SWAT officers. Now, that shooter, is he still inside the mall? Did he take off running? Well, all that information is still being sorted out in Sky 9 over the Torrance area. I'm Stu Mundell.
Thank you for that report. We will check back in with that story a little bit later. Turning now to that inmate who walked away from a work crew this afternoon. The sheriff's office says that 25-year-old Corey Allman was discovered missing during a routine head count near the Hickory Trail in Eureka. That's where we find ABC 23's Dylan Brown live for us tonight. Dylan, what are you learning?
Well, Scott, the Humboldt County Sheriff's Office tells me the inmate was supposed to be released 19 days from now. They said June 20th was his release date, but it was here at Truesdale Street in Eureka where it happened, just at the Hickory Trail. Deputies saying that inmate crews were working maintenance on this trail when out of nowhere that inmate decided to just walk away. Deputies searching for him tonight. Now, it was just after 1 this afternoon that the Sheriff's Office said they discovered 25-year-old inmate Corey James Allman was missing during this routine head count. Sheriff's Office believed he may have headed south on this trail towards Hillficker Lane. Allman, 25 years old, described as 6 feet 2 inches tall and 190 pounds. He was last seen, they say, wearing a blue shirt with a white undershirt, blue jeans, and black boots. Now, we did check, and we called Eureka Police Department, who originally arrested Allman, they say, on May 7th for what they say was an arrest warrant for burglary. We'll be checking back in with this, making sure deputies are finding this guy somewhere in Eureka or around Humboldt County. But reporting at this trail, Dylan Brown, North Coast News. Back to you.
Dylan, thank you for that live report. We appreciate it, sir.
I think it ended up being somewhat mischaracterized. There were a few more changes than just the one page.
Yeah, I'm turning now to more drama during the request for proposals in what would begin marketing for the city of Eureka for a $370,000 contract. Well, it was announced today that the city council said in a meeting 2 weeks ago that apparently all of it wasn't true. So we're breaking all this down for you. The city has been looking for a new marketing firm after dropping the Eureka Humboldt Visitors Bureau. During a council meeting to discuss the front runner, Humboldt Made, the city found out that Humboldt Made had apparently turned in a proposal after the due date. And when asked about that, the planning department said that it was one paper that hadn't been filled out and that it was turned back in. Well, today, the city says that they found out that that wasn't exactly the case.
Their electronic submission had not been submitted on time, and there were a few more changes than just the one page.
Why should people then trust this process going forward?
We've taken responsibility for mistakes that have been made, inaccuracies that have been put forward, trying to make sure those are correct, people know the right information going forward.
The city says that they looked into it deeper and found out that other changes were documented, including correction of spelling, typos, and even revised sentences. In a statement by the city, they say, quote, while staff cannot change the missteps that have occurred over the past 8 weeks, a commitment can be made to adhere to all policies and ethical standards and work to restore public trust, end of quote. Now, City Manager Greg Sparks says that they will discuss the issue behind closed doors tomorrow afternoon. Moving now to that dramatic video, police are looking for someone who crashed a car into Pacific Outfitters in Eureka early this morning. Take a look at this right here. You first see the car hop the curve right there, sparks underneath that car, and then look at this right here. Whammo, right into the building. This is security footage there that shows that car going too fast into that on-ramp and then crashing into the building. Then moments later, you can see a guy running out of that car, taking off down the back alley right there. You see him right there. The suspect apparently immediately getting out of that car, taking a run for it. Now, we checked with the Eureka police. They say that that car was reported stolen from the 1900 block of Spring Street just before midnight. That guy still on the loose tonight. Hundreds of earthquakes have hit a part of Southern California, including 2 this past week. A 3.1 magnitude quake shook Riverside County Saturday, then a 3.3 magnitude hit the area on Sunday. Riverside County has seen more than 250 earthquakes since last weekend. The number jumps when you add San Bernardino County into the mix. The area spans only a few square miles, but the U.S. Geological Survey has recorded 432 quakes there in less than 2 weeks.
Since this current swarm started May 25th, we've recorded over 400 earthquakes, the smallest being magnitude 0.8. These earthquakes are so small in the scheme of things that the amount of stress that's relieved or redistributed is actually relatively minor compared to what we might expect for a larger or say a damaging earthquake, getting up to magnitude 6 or larger.
Now, seismologists do not know the exact reason for this current swarm of earthquakes, but experts say that more than 95% of the recent ones have been small. Southern California has not seen a large earthquake in 15 years. Moving now to the new reporting tonight from the border. Last week was one of the busiest ever for illegal crossings. On Wednesday, agents encountered 1,036 people, primarily from Central America near El Paso, Texas. The arrest marks the largest group of unauthorized immigrants that Border Patrol has ever taken into custody at once. New numbers released show that more than 100,000 people a month are trying to cross the southern border into the U.S., and this has prompted President Trump to threaten tariffs on Mexico. He wants that country to do its part, he says, to reduce the flow of immigrants. So of the southern border with Mexico, many people think of the 2,000 miles that runs from California all the way to Texas. But as special correspondent Lara Logan discovered, the border and the Mexican cartels who exploit it extends into the stormy waters of the Gulf Coast.
It's a rough place to try to smuggle anything into the U.S., but it's a whole lot harder to police, especially at high speed. Vessel Commander P.J. Welch is one of just a dozen Marine interdiction agents tasked with slowing down the flood of illegal traffic making its way across this open water.
How much do you think is getting through here?
You know, we like to say that we catch 10%.
So 90% of the traffic is getting through?
It actually might even be greater than that.
It's easy to understand when you're out here. There are no cameras, no physical barriers, and, Welch said, the cartels have eyes on them every time they launch a boat.
They're watching where you go,
right,
and they move their shipments, they adjust.
Right, they adjust. As we adjust, they adjust.
Sometimes what they find horrifies them. Here, PJ and the other agents pulled some 14 illegal immigrants from the bilge of a shrimp boat, sick from noxious fumes and covered in gasoline. But the vast majority of illegal traffic in these waters is narcotics.
Where you're at is the #1 sector in the United States for the illegal importation of drugs.
More drugs coming through here than anywhere else.
Right, than any other part of the United States right now.
Stopping that traffic is dangerous. And if you aren't highly skilled, you don't make it to this unit. This is how they maneuver a 1,200 horsepower million-dollar boat to within feet of another vessel that may be determined to get away.
They need to come back about 200 yards.
Here you can see cartel drug smugglers in the water just off Brownsville, Texas, in this exclusive infrared video we obtained.
They're going to be on your right side.
PJ said those dark bundles are 50 to 80-pound loads of marijuana they were trying to swim across. You see the Marine Interdiction agents jump off their vessel onto a small island where the smugglers are hidden away.
We got one runner. He's going west.
One of the smugglers tried to hide in the thick brush on the shoreline.
You got an agent coming in right now. All right, agent walking up the 2-track. Agent walking up the 2-track.
But there's no escape.
Yeah, there you go. Keep on going south. It's going to be one subject right there. Got him.
PJ said the smugglers are often Mexican fishermen who are targeted by the cartels because they know these waters so well. To stem the tide, every agent is critical, but even here, they're losing people to the current crisis.
Now you see resources being taken away from a very difficult area to manage, where you got 12 guys that are supposed to keep this area locked down 24/7, 365 days a year.
The cost of that is not yet clear, and that's what concerns them the most. I'm Lara Logan in the Gulf of Mexico.
And on Wednesday, Lara will join Customs and Border Protection, Air and Marine Operation agents. Okay, moving on. Coming up on North Coast News. The worst of wildfire season is right in front of us. What fire officials are predicting 2019 will look like, and the latest on current fire activity. That'll be on the other side of the break. Plus, there's a beautiful shot there of the water, and Dylan's back. The sun was out for most of the day this Monday. It was a very sunny day out there. Not too bad at all. Gorgeous day. How much longer will this weather pattern last? What's in store for the rest of the week? Our first alert meteorologist, Jessica Birch, is standing by in the Weather Center, and she'll be joining us a little bit later on in this broadcast. But first,
the president's trade dispute with other countries may be concerning, but it's hardly new. I'm Scott Thuman in Washington with a look at how presidents use tariffs to make points.
We will have that story in less than 2 minutes. The time is 6:11. I'm Scott Rates. This is North Coast News.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Coast Central Credit Union.
Go green, safe green at Pape Machinery Ag and Turf. For a limited time, take home a new John Deere compact utility tractor with 0 down and 0% financing for 84 months. Backed by the Pape exclusive 10-year warranty and with attachments built for versatility, a new John Deere is the perfect mix of value and legendary performance. Run with us this spring at one of our 21 locations throughout the West. Pape keeps you moving. Learn more at papemachinery.com.
It's Turbo Tuesdays at the Heights. The fun continues with $12,000 in cash. Tuesdays in June, starting at noon. Just earn 500 points or more on Monday to earn your entry for Tuesday's slot tournament. We are giving away $3,000 every Tuesday, awarding the top 15 scores. First place each Tuesday is $1,000 in cash. Don't miss the Turbo Tuesday slot tournament in June. More entertainment, more fun, more winning. Visit SherryHeights.com for all the details. 5 minutes off the 101 in beautiful Trinidad.
I'm feeling good.
Make the most of your business card with Vistaprint.
I'm feeling good.
500 standard cards start at just $9.99 with code BCNOW.
I'm feeling good.
Own the now with Vistaprint.
Hernia mesh warning.
If you or a loved one had hernia surgery after 2006 and suffered infection, chronic pain, organ damage, mesh migration, or needed additional surgeries,
call Ryan Schulte now. 1-800-659-6400.
Manufacturers of hernia repair mesh may be responsible for your suffering.
Call 1-800-659-6400. Let our lawyers find out what mesh was used in your surgery and if you deserve compensation.
You might take something for your heart or joints, but do you take something for your brain? With an ingredient originally discovered in jellyfish, Prevagen has been shown in clinical trials to improve short-term memory. Prevagen, healthier brain, better life.
Back well wide, there's been plenty of attention Monday surrounding the president's trip to London. President Trump was also making news with other countries. He was tweeting about the escalating trade wars with China and Mexico over the last 2 days. Sinclair's chief political correspondent Scott Thuman explains how presidents have long tried to use tariffs to make a point.
The price of everything from avocados to cars is likely on the rise as President Trump and his trade battles intensify. The next bump, a 5% tariff on all Mexican goods, as Trump demands it do more to stop immigrants from reaching America's southern border. While his trade feuds may be much more public or personal than his predecessors, they're nothing new. President Obama slapped a 35% tariff on Chinese tires after American companies complained they were losing business.
Over 1,000 Americans are working today because we stopped a surge in Chinese tires.
China fought back, taxing American tires and even chicken parts. Some analysts say the U.S. lost billions of dollars and thousands of jobs.
So help me God.
Shortly after President Clinton's inauguration, the U.S. announced more tariffs on steel coming from 19 countries to level the playing field. In 1987, President Reagan announced a 100% tariff on Japanese-made computers and TVs in retaliation for what the White House called years of unfair trade practices by Japan. The fight involving tariffs and trade against other countries long precedes anything that the Commerce Department or even White House has done in recent decades. In the late 1700s, the British taxed American colonists on everything from paper to tea, partially triggering the Boston Massacre and later the Boston Tea Party, a precursor to the American Revolution. Fast forward, and America is still trading blows, mostly with China, which now plans to retaliate by charging the U.S. more to import car parts, even golf clubs. Both sides simmering.
Countries are taking advantage of us, whether they think we're very nice or not so smart.
Just who will come out on top and who gets hit the hardest is still unclear. In Washington, I'm Scott Thuman.
Turning our focus now to the wildfire season approaching tonight, we ask what kind of wildfire season this year could bring. 2018, we saw the Carr Fire and, of course, the Camp Fire, the Ferguson Fire, and many others. 2017 fires ravaged through the North State as well. So we looked into it. Could this year be any different?
After the devastation seen last year, officials worked quickly to try to prepare for this year. We've also had wet weather, factors that could help going into the upcoming fire season.
Early fire season assessment.
The National Interagency Coordination Center, or NICC, every month tries to predict the next 4 months when it comes to wildland fire potential.
Snow cover and water content was much different going into this spring period versus 2018.
Hope can be found with some of these predictions.
Abundant herbaceous fuels that grew during last year's growing season have been significantly matted down and or disintegrated due to the winter precipitation.
But still, NICC warns month to month they expect above normal significant fire potential starting June to July and to August.
At lower elevations, small grass fires will become more common, but chances remain low that they could grow to significant sizes in the absence of strong winds.
So while their 4-month prediction looks somewhat better than years previous,
since January 1st, much of the western U.S. has received above normal precipitation.
CAL FIRE still wants your home protected from wildfires before the season begins.
That was Dylan Brown reporting. That's the outlook for the coming months regarding fire season. But what about those months who have already passed? How does 2019 to this point compare to the same period last year when it comes to fire activity? Well, CAL FIRE has the latest on those numbers.
Last week, fire activity picked up dramatically, believe it or not, as the weather began warming up and conditions began drying out in many areas of the state, especially Northern California. You can see on our graphic that in total, we saw 158 new wildfires across the state. That's all jurisdictions across the state. 138 of which were within CAL FIRE's jurisdiction. Compared to last year, we've seen a decrease from last year's activity at this point in the year, as well as total acres burned, as you can see behind me here. But with the weather changing as rapidly as it has been, and with all the new vegetation growth due to the wet winter and spring months, we're likely to see that gap in those numbers close in the coming weeks.
Now, the single active wildfire in CAL FIRE's jurisdiction as of this morning was the Citrus Fire down in Tulare County. However, CAL FIRE says that blaze was contained just before 3 o'clock this afternoon after burning 257 acres. Coming up on North Coast News. Take a live look out there at the skies right now. The water, the sun glistening down on that water. Beautiful look out there. We had some fog and clouds early this morning, but that sunshine peeking through for a beautiful afternoon. Our First Alert meteorologist, Jessica Birch, standing by in the First Alert Weather Center. She will be coming to us in less than 2 minutes. The time is 6:19. I'm Scott Rates. This is North Coast News.
For 50 years, Cracker Barrel has been cooking home-style favorites to perfection. We thought we'd celebrate by making our golden anniversary extra golden. Introducing new, crispy, juicy Southern Fried Chicken. Now at Cracker Barrel.
Want a relaxing pedicure?
Relaxing pedicure? My feet get so dry and cracked, I need serious relief. That's why I use O'Keeffe's for healthy feet. Guaranteed relief for extremely dry, cracked feet. Thanks to O'Keeffe's, I got my feet back.
Dear Mad River Community Hospital, I brought my son into your emergency room with a high fever and severe pain in his stomach. I wasn't prepared to hear he needed surgery. But Dr. Barker and the nurse's explanation of the procedure put me at ease, and they were comforting to both Connor and I. Today, he is a healthy and happy boy. Thank you, Mad River Hospital, for being so kind and caring.
Mad River Community Hospital, always ready with 24-hour emergency services.
When severe weather strikes your backyard,
we're on the ground alerting you to potential dangers.
So these hazardous conditions aren't letting up, and neither is this major weather we're seeing here. To strong storms and sneaker waves. Every portion of the North Coast getting hit really hard with this flooding.
We're here keeping you safe.
It is just rushing as it goes underneath Fernbridge right now.
North Coast News. Severe weather first.
This portion of the news is sponsored by McRae's Subaru.
Well, we're definitely starting off the work week warmer. However, we will cool down, and here's why. This is the next weather maker. We still have warm temperatures right now all the way into Wednesday. However, we're cooling down Thursday, Friday because this low pressure system that is of course attached to a cold front, making it cooler for the North State. We'll talk about that more in just a second. However, here's your marine forecast. We're seeing a low tide in just a couple minutes actually, around 2 feet, and then your next high tide is going to be around midnight, and that's going to be around 8 feet. Winds are currently coming from the north, 5 to 15 knots, sorry. Waves are coming from the northwest at 7 feet, and then a period of 7 seconds. There is a small craft advisory in effect, and that goes all the way until Tuesday late evening. And then, of course, we still have patchy fog along the coast. We'll talk about that more in just a second. Current conditions right now in Arcata, Eureka area, 57 degrees. Winds are coming from the northwest at 10 miles per hour. And then as for Crescent City, 58 degrees right now you guys are sitting at, with winds coming from the northwest at 6 miles per hour. So let's take a look at PrecisionCast to figure out if there's going to be any heavy overcast, which there's not. Monday tonight at 9 o'clock, we see a little south of Eureka. However, going into tomorrow morning, winds are pretty strong, 10 miles per hour, but no overcast, and then not even any speckles of rain in the forecast as well, going on into the evening at 6 p.m., so that's good for us. As for the winds, we're strong, pretty strong this evening, 24 miles per hour in Crescent City, 20 miles per hour over in Eureka. Those start dying down by tomorrow morning, 15 miles per hour up in Crescent City, but then it kicks right back up late into the afternoon. Tuesday at 5 p.m., we're seeing 24 miles per hour at Crescent City, 17 miles per hour near Eureka, and then more inland, we're seeing a lot smaller of numbers. So let's take a look at tomorrow's daytime highs. We're seeing 60s mostly along the coast, low 60s. However, we're warming up in the valley and near more inland as well. 90 degrees over in Willow Creek, and then 85 up in Alder Point. As for the northern part of the coast, we're seeing mostly around 60s as well, 58 over in Crescent City for your daytime high. And then we're seeing temperatures get all the way up to 83 degrees in Gasquet, 97 in Orleans, and 91 in Hoopa. So we're really close to those triple digits. The winds are going to be coming from the northwest pretty strongly too. So let's take a look at your coast forecast for the next 7 days. Like I said, that cold front's coming through Wednesday late night, leaving us with a little bit cooler conditions on Thursday, but it's the coast, not too much of a cooler condition. 59 degrees for your daytime high on Thursday, getting right back up to the 60s, even upper 60s by the late weekend. By Monday, your daytime high is going to be 69 degrees, and we're going to be seeing close to 70s for the next couple weeks. Overnight lows are going to be in the 50s and upper 40s, though, for the next week. As for the inland forecast, a different setup for sure. We're seeing patchy fog starting off Tuesday. Warm temperatures, though, 90 degrees for your daytime high, and then 74 degrees once that cold front pushes through on Thursday, leaving us with the same conditions Thursday and Friday. As for Saturday and Sunday, we're getting all the way back up to the 80s, and then the end of the work week, we're going to be seeing 80 degrees, and then going into the next work week as well, we're getting close to 90s. Your overnight lows for the inland is going to be mostly in the 50s, upper 40s. So that's the pattern we're seeing after that cold front pushes through. Back to you guys.
Today I'm going to talk to you about physics. Come on in, girls. Let's go. This is the first rocket to get humans to Mars. Really tall. I'm a rocket structural engineer, designing and building parts of the rocket. You are the generation that will be stepping foot on Mars. Do I have a group of astronauts on my hands? Yes. You can become a rocket scientist or whatever else you want to be.
Everything matters as we age. And when it comes to cremation, care of loved ones is what matters to family. An important benefit is to make certain there is an on-site crematory. Ayers is the only funeral home in Humboldt County with an on-site crematory. Ayers understands the importance. It's why Humboldt County residents choose Ayers. Call the local cremation professionals. Trust Ayers' decades of experience. In Eureka, on the web, and on Facebook.
Congratulations on your new job, babe. Super proud of you.
Thanks. Too bad I have to drive this thing to work.
Yeah, this is a problem.
Hey, you guys know that Mickey's does cash for clunkers, right? They'll take almost anything. And as long as you pick out a car in the lot that's listed for $10,000, they'll give you up to $3,500 towards your down payment.
The Cash for Clunkers program at Mickey's Quality Cars is your chance to upgrade and get something for nothing. Come on in and talk to our friendly staff, pick out a car on the lot listed at $10,000 or more, and get up to $3,500 towards a down payment. Get rid of that clunker and upgrade your life at Mickey's Quality Cars.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Coast Central Credit Union.
Welcome into Sports North Coast. Leading us off tonight, leveling the playing field. Game 2 of the NBA Finals was last night, and the Warriors in unfamiliar territory, dropping Game 1 of the Finals for the first time during their 5-year run. All right, let's get into the highlights. Leading it off, the Raptors off to a fairly good start. You see the nice transition slam there by Pascal Siakam, getting the alley-oop feed from Fred VanVleet. Raptors up in the first half. Here's another big slam that got the crowd going. And the Raptors took a 5-point lead into the locker room, but the third quarter is where the whole game changed. The Warriors came out hitting shot after shot. They went on an 18-0 run to totally flip the game upside down. Raptors couldn't quite climb back. Warriors win Game 2, 109-104. Game 3 is Tuesday.
Tired of renting but can't save for a down payment on a home of your own? Coast Central Credit Union's first-time homebuyer program makes qualifying easier than you think. As low as 3% down and a $900 origination fee waived. Fewer restrictions and local approvals. If you've looked at other first-time homebuyer programs and been discouraged, come see your friends at Coast Central Credit Union. Your money doing more. Member NCUA Equal Housing Lender. 3% down plus closing costs and private mortgage insurance. Visit our brand new website at coastccu.org.
Look at this Western Bacon Cheeseburger from Carl's Jr. Tangy barbecue sauce, charbroiled beef with crispy bacon and onion rings. It's time to give your taste buds a giddy up. The Western Bacon Cheeseburger, only at Carl's Jr.
Go green, save green at Pape Machinery Ag and Turf. For a limited time, take home a new John Deere compact utility tractor with 0 down and 0% financing for 84 months. Backed by the Pape exclusive 10-year warranty and with attachments built for versatility, a new John Deere is the perfect mix of value and legendary performance. Run with us this spring at one of our 21 locations throughout the West. Pape keeps you moving. Learn more at papemachinery.com.
These are no ordinary Carl's Jr. fries, because these fries have the iconic flavor of the Western Bacon Cheeseburger. The new Western fries only at Carl's Jr. It's time to Western.
Watch Pickler and Ben.
Weekdays on ABC 23.
Tonight, World News Tonight is next. Dylan will be back tonight at 10 and 11. Good night.
Tired of renting?